Welcome to Women's Wealth, the podcast with me, Joanne. My mission is to educate, inspire, and empower you all to step into your own life of wealth. That feeling of being so rich in your mind, body, and soul. I'm so happy to have you here. Let's get straight into it. I'm on my own today, and I'm going to be chatting about some of my favourite, I love conspiracies, and I love talking about health and wellness. So I'm going to talk about some health and wellness conspiracies, and these are some of the things that I love to sort of drop in. They're very good conversation starters. You can take them for free, start some conversations, and go out there and educate on some of the things that we've been told all of our lives that are not actually true. And some of them, remember, this is all my own opinion and all my own conspiracy. I think a lot of these we have been told so that it keeps us sick. Make of that what you will. Now this episode has been inspired by RFK. So he, obviously, if you've been watching the politics in America, he is in Trump's team, and he has said that he is going to make America healthy again. Now, of course, I don't live in America. I know a lot of people who listen to the podcast are American. Whether your political views are left or right, I don't think you can argue that there's some messed up stuff going on in America, which then I feel trickles down into the rest of the world. You've only got to have a look at breakfast cereal in America and compare it to European or even Canadian. Is it Fruit Loops? I don't know, so we don't really have that kind of them in the UK. Well, the ones in the UK, Cheerios, they are not fluorescent colours. And I know in the US, there's all of these ingredients that are not allowed in Europe, not allowed in Canada. So why are they allowed in the US? This is something that RFK said. I've just got his quote here. He posted this on X. Hello. The FDA's, sorry, for those of you listening, Dottie just popped her head up at me. I was saying hello to he didn't say hello. The FDA's war on public health is about to end. This includes its aggressive suppression of psychedelics, peptides, stem cells, raw milk, hyperbaric therapies, charlatan compounds, I think I said that right, ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, vitamins, clean food, I know that word, sunshine, exercise, nutraceuticals, and anything else that advances human health and can't be patented by pharma. This is everything that I try to talk about and everything that I try to share, that there's a place for Western medicine. There's a place, of course, they're going to make money on that. And when you're sick, you may need to visit a doctor. But some of these things, you don't need to go to a doctor to get milk. You don't need to go to a doctor to have clean food or make sure you're getting your vitamins. You don't need a doctor for sunshine and exercise. All of these things we can do without seeing a doctor, without getting tablets, without speaking to anybody. We have the power to do these things. And what's actually happened is there's been a flip between encouraging people to do these things and encouraging them to do the opposite, relying on medications and avoiding certain things. And that's what I'm going to bring in today, because, for example, on this list, sunshine. And when I get to going through, I have lots of notes for today. When I get to sunshine today, I've been guilty of not wanting to get any piece of my skin in the sun because I'm going to get skin cancer. And that's how you get skin cancer. But I'm going to share later on in the podcast that this might not actually be the case. And we've been told all of these things for all of these years. And some of them might be more myth than they are fact. If we actually started to listen to our bodies and learning about what is good for us, then you might be surprised. So I'm going to start with some controversial myths for food, and then we'll just work in. I don't know if I've put them in any particular order, actually. I get excited when I start doing research like this. First one, fats are the enemy. Now, of course, when we talk about fats, we're not just talking about going to the chip shop and having deep fried food. Of course, those that kind of fat is not going to be great for us in the long haul. However, healthy fats are essential to our bodies. They are essential for our hormone health, for our brains. And it's kind of been drilled into us that any type of fat is bad. And the controversial, the conspiracy side of this, I guess, is hello, fat-free food. Like, do we need to have fat-free yogurts? Like, is the fat within the yogurt not a healthy fat? You know, it's not chips, you know, it's not deep fried, it's a dairy product. And some of us are so inclined to reach for the fat-free, we're not checking the labels to see what they're pumping into it to make it tasty. Because not that the fat is going to taste good, but they put extra additives in when they're making these fat-free products. You probably find that there's more sugar in there. And that's also because they still want us to get addictive. So whether it's fat-free or not. Now, another thing to look out for when it's fat-free and you're looking over at the ingredients, of course, it's going to be easier for them to say fat-free rather than 90 ingredients, because you're not going to buy something knowing that there's 90 extra ingredients in there that shouldn't be. So we're just going to go for it because it's fat-free. And I've done this. Low fat, fat-free, whatever, the different colour labels, really not just paying attention to what's actually in there. Some fats are healthy. We need them. We need them for our bones, our joints, our brains. We've got to have those healthy fats. So it's about going away and educating yourself. You know, it's the same as cereal bars. We're given this impression that cereal bars are so good for us and, you know, the quick, easy, snacky breakfast. You may as well have a Mars bar. You may as well have a Mars bar if you're going to have a cereal bar. But what we are not kind of encouraged to do is, okay, what are we actually looking for in the cereal bar? Okay, we've got nuts, we've got dried fruit. Have a handful of nuts and an apple. You're going to be better off. But again, it's this, the food industry, the pharmaceutical industry work together hand in hand. The way that I see it is the food industry makes us sick, it makes us diabetic. And then the pharmaceutical industry is going to treat that. And if we are getting things like diabetes and we are overweight and those things are affecting us in the long term, you're going to be a lifelong patient. So learning how to check labels and really looking next time you pick up that fat-free or low fat, just compare the ingredients to the actual fat. And I would say, you know, if you're not on a low-fat diet, so that's what your doctor has told you to eat, low fat but healthy fats, I would skip the low fat altogether. Again, my opinion, it's up to you what you do, but look at the label and you'll see the additives and the sugars compared to the full fat, and then, you know, make your own choice there on the swap. Healthy fats here, some easy swaps is, you know, I've just said, instead of the breakfast bar, just have a handful of nuts. That's all it is, but it's covered in sugar. Avocado, the old favourites, you know, have avocado on toast. Swapping out when you're frying, you know, for olive oil instead of whatever other oils that you're using. I know olive oil is slightly more expensive, but again, I feel like this is another way in which the pharmaceuticals and the food industries kind of have us over a barrel, because the healthy food is more expensive, and I shouldn't even be saying healthy food. It should just be in the food section, and that's what we buy. But if we go to the supermarket and we want a box of cereal, we're paying an extra couple of pounds just because it's the healthy one. And again, it's something that I completely disagree with. The organic fruit and vegetable is more healthy. It is cheaper to buy. Why? Surely they all should be organic. They should all not be sprayed with nasty pesticides and making everybody sick. Next one, and this reminds me of back in the Towie days when it was no carbs before marbs. The myth, carbs and red meat are unhealthy. The reality, carbs like whole grains, fruits and vegetables provide energy and essential nutrients. Red meat from good sources offers protein, iron, B vitamins that can support muscle, brain and energy. Told that carbs are bad and don't eat carbs, and you know, but then we're shown all of these carb-free products and these diets that come through and gluten-free, and it's a whole big industry. So now you've got whole gluten-free sections in the supermarket, and yes, some people are celiac. Again, I was a vegetarian for I don't even know how long actually. I flicked between vegetarian to just eating chicken to just eating fish. from chicken to fish to chicken to fish to chicken to fish for years and years and years and years, until last year, once I started to learn about all of this, I was like, right, I want to start eating red meat, and I was craving it. I was actually looking at steaks thinking, I really want to eat that. This vegetarian, vegan lifestyle is a whole industry. It's a whole industry, but do we actually need it? If you're learning about what is good, the healthy fats, healthy carbs, healthy proteins, and maybe following more of an intuitive diet instead of just eating what we're told, you'll probably find that you don't need any of these fancy things. You can just go to the supermarket and get your meat, get your vegetables, get your fruit, and there's your meal. We don't need anything else. Well, say that, we do need other things. You don't just need meat, fruit, and vegetables. But the point I'm trying to make is we can ignore all the other things. We've got what we need there. We've got the fiber, we've got the fats, we've got the proteins, and you're understanding what's going into your body. And this brings me on to milk. Now, again, we were told for years and years, raw milk is dangerous. Don't drink raw milk. So raw milk is basically, it hasn't been pasteurized. It's not semi-skimmed. It's just as it comes straight from the cow, which can be hard to find, but again, it's also more expensive. Raw milk can actually benefit us. When we pasteurize milk, when we're turning it into pasteurized semi-skimmed, we're actually losing these nutrients. A lot of countries that traditionally have stayed with raw milk sing the praises of raw milk. They think all of their power, their strength, comes from raw milk and its health benefits. Now, again, the conspiracy angle with this is the companies, the milk companies, the pasteurization, how they play on us wanting convenience. So, long gone are the days of the milkman and him dropping off the milk, and there wasn't much of a process from the milkman to the front door. However, now there's a whole process. People want convenience. Then also have all of these milk substitutes now. What are they actually doing for us? Are they providing us with anything? Or, I went through a phase of having oat milk, and then I actually looked at the label and realized it was all sugar. So no wonder I was really enjoying it, and just drinking these oat milk lattes here, there and everywhere, until I was like, oh right, that's why I like it so much, because it's full of sugar. And I work in health I work with people and I advise people, and it's so easy just to pick something up, think it's okay, and then go for it, and you think you're doing the right thing. So if you're listening to this and you're like, oh my God, I do all of these things, it's a journey, it's a process. But once you start learning, and once you start listening and reading labels, you'll start to find that, okay, I can probably swap that out and put this in. For example, if you use margarine, easy swap, stop buying margarine, buy proper butter. I watched a video and it was someone put margarine on the floor and put some butter on the floor, and not one ant went to the margarine. They ignored the margarine and went straight to the butter. Again, another thing that we've been told, don't have butter, but have butter. Put butter on, get rid of that plastic margarine. That's one homework for today. I kind of already mentioned sunlight. So we've been told, again, sunlight is harmful, sunlight is dangerous. If you get in sunlight and you burn, you're going to get cancer. However, a moderate amount of sunlight is needed for vitamin D, for our mood, for sleep quality. Avoiding sunlight can lead to vitamin D deficiencies, and I really do think that my vitamin D deficiencies were because I used to completely stay out of the sun as much as I could, and I used to have back pain, and I've spoken about these things before on my podcast. And now that I actually allow myself to get a bit of sun, I'll go for a walk, I'll sit in the garden, and it just needs to be through your eyes. I've stopped wearing sunglasses unless it's really bright and I'm driving. I try and let my eyes see the sun, because again, it helps with sleep. It's a natural light, because we're so surrounded by artificial light. All of these things, very easy to swap out. I think a lot of the fear for the sun really drove then the sun cream business, the marketing. Sun exposure can cause this, and come and buy this cream, this is the best cream, and yes, we probably need, I still use some sun cream, I use natural sun cream now. But if I put it on my face, I use a mineral one for my face, but I allow myself to get out there so I can get the vitamin D. Get out there in the sun, you're nourishing your body. We need vitamin D for our bone health, immune support, mental health, and it helps us to sleep. So this was a lesson learned for me. There's 2 lessons learned, the red meat and the sun, things that I used to totally avoid. Now I have both and I feel so much better for it. I actually don't eat a vegetarian diet at all now. So I'm on the red meat. I've actually stopped eating chicken, surprisingly, after all of these years. I don't trust the hormones, the things that are pumped into chicken, because when we're absorbing those, they're actually affecting our own bodies and the way that our body holds on to inflammation, not inflation. The way that our bodies hold inflammation. So if you struggle with aches and pains, try cutting chicken out for a while and maybe making sure that you're getting a little bit more red meat. See what happens. If you're not eating meat, again, it's your choice, your body, your choice. Have a little think about why you're actually not eating meat. Because from somebody who didn't for years and years and years and now does, like I've just said, I feel so much better. My hormones are so much better. My hair, my skin, my nails, my energy levels. You know, but I know people have their own beliefs about eating meat. Right, this is a fun one. So this also comes with a bit of a backstory, that the other day, my partner, he had the opticians in his school. So they were giving all the kids in school an eye test, and he came home and said more than 50% of the kids needed glasses. So straight away, because I'm already onto this, that more than half of the world, actually, let me double check my stat here. 62%, I've just checked, of the world currently wear glasses. There's another headline here as well. Half the planet will need glasses by 2050, and our addiction to screens could be to blame. Whew. So I've looked into this before. I've actually stopped wearing my prescription glasses. I have glasses here. They are just blue light. I actually had my prescription taken out, and now I just have blue light lenses put in. I do need to wear them when I'm recording the podcast, but I just get fly eyes because of my light behind. So as soon as I stop recording, this light is off and I sit in natural light because this hurts my eyes. And when I was teaching, I was sat in classrooms with the artificial light all day. Now I only use this light when I'm recording my podcast. So I know on those days, so I'm like, quick, get my podcast done, light off. I used to have constant headaches and have to wear my prescription glasses when I was working in school. And I know it was the lights, I know it was the screens now, but I also used to just think that my eyes weren't that good. I don't wear them anymore. Don't need to wear them. I can see, I can read things, you know, it's there, nothing is blur. And I really do think that I've managed to, if they were deteriorating, I've stopped them from deteriorating by stopping wearing my glasses. So back to the conspiracy. So 50% of his school, more than 50% of his school have to have glasses. So he was obviously going straight on to blaming the screens and too much screen time, and no wonder the kids are not working in class because none of them can see, and XYZ. So fair points, especially that the kids can't see. I've had kids in my class before that their handwriting's terrible, don't really copy down from the board, came in with glasses, and then it's like, oh, so you couldn't see then, but it hasn't been picked up on. I called parents and asked before, like, have they had their eyes tested? Because then, you know, that is, you know, if you cannot see what you're writing, then yeah, your handwriting is probably going to be bad. Anyway, that's a side point. But then my conspiracy mind kicked in. So I asked the question of, okay, was that just one optician's? And he said, yeah. So I was like, okay, so those 50% of the school, 500 kids now need to go and buy glasses from that optician's and go for an eye test. What a nice little bit of money for the opticians suddenly. Forever, because most people, once you have glasses when you're younger, you keep those glasses for the rest of your life. And I do think that there is a real conspiracy, and I'm guessing the opticians are also governed by the FDA, maybe, I don't know. Is it classed as medication? I don't know. surely our eyes are not de-evolving. Yes, I do think if you're going on screens, we're not meant to be looking at blue lights for this long, but when we go to the opticians, now my prescription must have been so small that they could have said, we're not going to give you one, but you can, if you can see, if you can read, then they shouldn't give me one. Just tell me how I can help to improve my eyes, because you can. By getting outside, practice the 20-20 rule. So every 20 minutes, look at something 20 feet away, which I don't know, but you can just look around anyway for 20 seconds and then, go back to what you're doing. So that's particularly helpful if you're on the computer. Stop, look away, 20 seconds, 20 feet away, and then come back. So give your eyes that rest. Get outside, as much natural light as you can. No big lights on until you obviously can't see because it's dark, and really limit your screen time. So treating your eyes as well, they are a sensory organ. They're part of our body. We kind of don't think of them as an organ, but look after your eyes, your diet, your sleep, your exercise. This is all going to have a knock-on effect on your eye health. So if, like me, you're like, I don't really, do you really need the glasses? Can you take them away? Can you take, and again, it goes back to our healthy fats, omega-3s, zinc, lutein. I've got a list here actually. Vitamin C, vitamin E, leafy green vegetables, kale, spinach, tuna, other types of fish. If we're not eating these things, then that is going to affect our eyesight. So if you're looking to wean yourself off your glasses, if you don't have a very strong prescription like I had, change your diet. Start to get more natural sunlight. Swap your glasses for blue light glasses and reduce your screen time. So we have all of those things there that we've been told for years and years and years. Don't go in the sun, don't eat this, don't drink that. Whereas we actually need these things. And I do think that it is real big. There's something going on up there. And I'm guessing RFK thinks that as well. And lots of other people, that the FDA need telling. The FDA needs sorting out. There are too many people with their hands in other people's pockets. So I was listening to, go check out the podcast, because I'm probably going to say this not factually correct, but it's Joe Rogan with Kelsey and Callie Means. And I think it's Kelsey that's talking about it. Kelsey. And she mentions that, and I can't think of the company now, but there is a company that makes the breast cancer drugs, and then there's a company who is partnered with it. I don't know if it's the same people or they're under the same umbrella, that make a substance that can cause breast cancer. Now, I can't remember what it is. It's obviously a carcinogenic, but it's kind of like, right, you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back. So we'll give the breast cancer, you can treat the breast cancer. And there's so many of those. She gave an example of the diabetes companies working with Coca-Cola and McDonald's, and there's so many people at the top of the chain. And again, this is more America, but it filters down, that they make a lot of money from people being sick. He also spoke about Ozempic, and maybe this is a podcast for another time. I know people on Ozempic, but it is a drug for diabetes, and what they're actually trying to do right now, and I'm hoping that this gets stopped, is, without even trialing it, getting young kids onto Ozempic so they have lifelong patients. And that's what this is all about. This is all about how many patients can we get. We need lifelong patients. So it's misadvice. Oh, I should mention the food pyramid. Let me just Google this right here, right now. The pyramid we don't really use anymore, but what that actually, if you look at the food pyramid, it puts an emphasis on eating carbohydrates and avoiding fats. And the carbohydrates at the bottom, so there is breads, there's cereals. I'll put it on the screen now actually. Breads, cereals, pastas, there's white bread there as well, that we now know isn't the best for us. And then you've got fruit and vegetables there, and red meat. So if you look at this chart, this pyramid, compared to what we actually know now, it actually shows the corruption. I could actually do a whole podcast on this. So what the food pyramid actually did was cover up that fats are good for us and kind of pushed us to eating this processed food, breads and pasta, that was then obviously paying into corporations that were making that food. And then since the introduction of the pyramid, particularly in America, but I remember having this food pyramid in my canteen at school, it's pushing that on your plate you should have all of these carbohydrates, meat is bad, fruit and veg only a little bit, rather than it should be flipped. And the way that I like to eat, and of course I'm not perfect, if you were on my Instagram this weekend, because it was my birthday, I had a huge piece of cake. And again, it's all, I eat intuitively. It was my birthday, I had a piece of cake. I'm not going to want cake today. I've just had spinach, cucumbers, a big piece of steak, tomato. I had porridge this morning with all my nuts. I'm having fish curry later because again I'm not eating chicken. So it's all in balance, and it's all about understanding that I'm not going to eat that the cake every day, and today I'm not even thinking about it and nourishing my body, but knowing that I also had sourdough bread, so I had a little bit of carbohydrates there. Just knowing I need that. I'm not going to completely miss carbohydrates off my plate because I need the energy. But what I do need on the plate as well is the iron that comes from the spinach, and the vitamin C from the tomatoes, and the protein and the vitamin E and all of the other amazing things, the zinc that comes from the red meat. So I know I went off on a tangent there, but I was inspired by the food pyramid. Take a look at it yourself and you'll see that for all of those years we were actually told the wrong information, but that was feeding somebody else's pocket. Anyway, I'll stop there for today. I feel like I've just given myself 5 more podcasts, which is not a bad thing, talking about the food pyramid and going a little bit deeper into all of this. Let me know what you think. Let me know if there's any myths that you've also found and you've debunked over the years. And just remember to really check your labels. Look what's on your plate. We want to eat intuitively. It's nourishing. Oh, and I nearly forgot. My toolkit also goes live the day that I'm actually filming this podcast. So if you'd like to learn more about working with me within my group program, please reach out to me. The program is open. There's not a deadline. It's just an ongoing, kind of like a membership, I guess, for 6 months. So you can join at any time. There will be people in there that have been in there before. So you use the support from those people. So if you join in a couple of months' time, there hopefully will be people that have already been in there for a couple of months. So you have that support and that feedback from them. We go into intuitive eating, mindful eating, exercise, workouts. There's yoga, there's breath work, there's mindfulness, there's meditation, there's intuitive, there's finance. There's so many things that we cover in the toolkit. So reach out to me and we can get on a call and speak face to face. It'll be lovely to see you. And I will end it there before I carry on. See you in the next episode.